I think there's one more. This is a long one. It's going to take me a few dives to get it. Does the band have any idea, I assume they mean R.E.M., of how much their music, values, and personalities have impacted us fans? I think R.E.M. has always maintained a really great fan relationship. I mean, there was fan-band relationship. There was so much going on, like with all those special shows that we did, and all the, the sound check stuff they did with fans, and they really treated their fan club members really well, I think, and did a lot of communication. So I would think that would be pretty obvious. And maybe, they're kind of low-key people in certain ways, so now that they've retired, maybe they don't talk about it that much. I don't know. I don't really keep track necessarily, but I think R.E.M. was really accessible, and they as far as like they did a lot of touring and made sure that everybody had a chance to see them, even though they were kind of famous for not touring. When they released their two biggest albums, I think they made up for that in subsequent years. I know that relationship has meant a lot to them. It's sometimes, I guess it's interesting to pose a question like that, because I guess you never really can tell. I think the artists always feel like they're really giving, and then they keep their personal lives for themselves and kind of, go back to their private space, I suppose. There are certain artists who have sort of crafted their career in the social media age, where they, their fans have nicknames like the Lady Gaga's Monsters and Swifties and things like that. And it's kind of like, even though they're this bajillion selling artist, you feel like you're in their kind of world, or in a little club, even though that little club is, hundreds of millions strong. It's quite an interesting trick in a way. It's not really a malicious trick. I mean, it's just a way to cast an atmosphere, to make people feel like they're part of something, which I know is important to people. R.E.M. doesn't go to that length. There's no nickname for R.E.M. fans that I know of. And they came from an age where, they were kind of the epitome of bands that kept a certain mystery. When I first became a fan right around, Murmur and Reckoning, when I was in high school, it was actually pretty hard to find out any information at all about them. And that just made it all the more interesting. And even knowing what the songs were saying was a big mystery. So the age of mystery has kind of disappeared. People just assume access now, even if it's sort of illusory. You have to at least look like you're accessible. And, R.E.M. kind of bowed out right as that age was really beginning. But that doesn't mean that, the support of all those fans doesn't mean anything to them. Of course it does. So hope that people can see that. Anyway, if it wasn't clear, it's not my job. You'll have to address that with them directly. I certainly appreciate everyone's support of me over the years, and all the new friends and fans that I made through my association with R.E.M., and hopefully even just through this series of questions. I am a very private person. At the same time, I'm a really a giving person, and I like to, I've kind of grown up my entire life in showbiz, but it's not really, I'm pretty down to earth. And, kind of there was that kind of early part of my career where everything was just blowing up, and, I feel like I did my best to keep my feet on the ground, but I may have floated up there a little bit, into the clouds, but, life kind of evens out over time, and things come back to their natural state in many ways. And I think my natural state is that I'm a musician and kind of a regular person with hopes and dreams and fears and successes and failures. And I can relate to people who aren't musicians. I mean, this musician part, maybe at some point I considered it the biggest part of my life, but it's a big part of my life. But just being a person is a bigger part of my life. Being, with my family, with my wife, my daughter, and all that, taking care of my parents, etc. All that stuff is bigger in a way than music. Music is a great expression. It's like, place I go to, but there's life outside of music. So this is a really long kind of answer, but I think it's just interesting stuff. And it's the kind of thing that probably, if you didn't know to ask it, you should probably know. So there you go. So that is everything for the questions for Ken. I believe they have all been answered, hopefully to your satisfaction. And I've had a great time doing it.